This past week was a big win for us. Anytime as Steve said, that you can go on the road and play a good football team. Stephen F. was coming in to that game as a hot football team, a team that had won some games most recently and had played really well. Well, we went up there and we did the keys to victory. Don't turn the football over, play clean. All of that type stuff, and we set the tempo against Southeastern on the first play from scrimmage. Jacob Sisk ran down on special team. Boom! I don't know if any of y'all remember that we knocked the ball out on the opening kickoff. We set the tempo on the first play from scrimmage in this game by fumbling it on the first play, but as a testament to the character and the resilience of these guys. I mean, they never flinched, they never blinked. And they played tremendously hard. Steve said we had 6 turnovers and 120-something yards in penalties and still won by 20 points. So that's that to me shows the determination of those guys. They never blinked. When we went down, as Steve said, we could have won that game 60 to 14. It actually ought to have been some 60-7 because we gave them the first touchdown. We fumbled and they picked it up and got it back to the 7-yard line. So we gave them seven cheap ones early, and then but the thing that I really like about this group is even late in the fourth quarter we're up by 20 and we're playing some young guys and they take it down and they get the ball down there inside the 15, 20 and those guys were they weren't going to let them score. They were very, very intense and determined to not let the other group in, regardless of the fact. The ones they wanted back in and they didn't want them to score. So they've got a lot of pride in keeping people out the end zone and finding a way to win. A couple of guys played. We had a lot of guys play really, really well, do a lot of tremendous things. I thought our wide receiver core really stepped up. Desmond had a big day. Jatavius, had some plays where he's played well all year long, but you saw Jaquez McMillan step forward and made some big plays. Roman Gordon had another big play. Jose Moore had some big plays. So we got a lot of, there were a lot of guys contributing from the wide receiver core, which that was good to see. It was another week where the tight ends caught some balls. Cody Douch had a deep ball pass, so now they've got to respect the tight end going deep. That was a big touchdown for us early in the game. Cardell Best, I thought, had his best game. He had a couple of sacks and a couple of tackles for loss and really played well defensively. I thought all of our ends did a good job of, their quarterback, that Zach Conk, is he's a really good football player. That is a big kid. And the kid's a good football player. And the ends really did a good job of keeping him in the pocket and getting him on the ground. That guy's 240, 250 pounds. And, it's tough for one guy to get him on the ground, but those ends did an outstanding job of containing him. Stockton Mallet, I've been here 3 years and been working with the O-line for 3 years. Our top knockdown, we grade the film and we give them knockdowns, pancakes, stuff like that at the end of each game. Kyle Stouffer had 11 a couple of years ago. Whenever we played Lamar last year in that big game, that was the most we'd ever had, was 11, and that was about 5 more than your typical. If a guy's got 6, he's had a good game. If he's got 5, he's had a pretty good game. 11 was wow. Stouffer broke the record. Well, Stockton Mallet had 17 knockdowns the other day in that game against Stephen F. So he really played well up front. I thought our offensive tackles did a good job this past week. Playing Stephen F., they had one of the top defensive ends in the league in sacks. They're number 13. He's an NFL player. He's got another year left to play in the Southland Conference, but he's an NFL player. And those guys, Cade Camp, David Tatchie, and John Austin Cook, I thought did a really good job. We gave up 1 sack, which is one too many. but they had close to 10 the week before against Incarnate Word. So, that was definitely on our minds going into that game, and those guys did a really good job of that. Now, a lot of times you got to lose a game before you see stuff that you need to work on. Well, fortunately for us, we were able to, this past week we saw a lot of things that stuck out that that we need to work on. A lot of things we did really, really well. We stopped the run really well. We again, after the first 3 minutes of the game, we gave up 7 points to the team that's third in the league in total offense and scoring offense. We rushed the football for 190 yards against the third rush defense in the league. So there are a lot of things when we hit some balls down the field and scored some points. There were a lot of good things, but there were some things that showed up that we definitely need to correct to be able to take that next step. Ball security being first and foremost. We've got to do a better job of protecting the football. We've evaluated each turnover that we had, and the good thing about each turnover that we had is you can see where every one of them are correctable. They get back to fundamentals from an interception that we may have thrown is correctable off of fundamentals. The fumbles are correctable off of fundamentals. You got to cover the 4 points of the ball and keep it glued to your ribs. You can't let it get out away from your body. So there's a lot of things that we can definitely work on, and it's always good to work on those things after a victory and not have to take a defeat to see the things that you need to get corrected. So, this week's a really big week for us. Nicholls State is a very, very good football team. They will be as good as anybody that we played so far this year. They're coming into this game at 5-2 in the conference. They're 5-4 overall, but here 2 of their losses. Well, that's 3 of their losses. If you want to, all right. One of their losses was to Georgia, not West Georgia, not South Georgia, but Georgia, University of Georgia. They lost by 2, in a game that they easily could have won. Then they took South Alabama to overtime and got beat 41-40 by South Alabama, the same South Alabama that beat Mississippi State, that turned around and beat Texas A&M. And another one of their losses was to Sam Houston, who is pretty good in their own right. So that's 3 of their losses there, and then they dropped one early in the year to McNeese. So Nicholls State's an outstanding football team. They've got for Forcade, if any of y'all familiar with that name, that's their quarterback, and it's John Forcade from back in the day, son. He's an outstanding player. He's a true freshman, good football player. They've got a wide receiver on the outside, C.J. Bates. That's very dangerous. Defensively, they're good up front. Their defensive line is very strong. I don't know if any of y'all have seen that Netflix original Last Chance U. But Ronald Ali is their defensive tackle, and he was one of the big guys in that video series. So Ronald plays defensive tackle for him. Their other defensive tackle is a guy that I believe has already been Southland Conference Defensive Player of the Week once. He's a true freshman, Sully Lachey. He's an undersized guy, but he's, when I say undersized, he's 6'2", 255. He's not 300 or 330 or anything like that. He's only 250, 255, but he's a very, very active guy. So they've got some guys on defense, and they've got some good players on offense. And as Steve mentioned earlier, their head coach and I worked together. It's been many moons ago, but they do a. I knew when Tim got there that he was going to get Nicholls going in the right direction, and he's done, exactly what I, knew that he would do there. He's really put together a strong program, and they're doing a good job. But we're excited about this week. Really looking forward to playing. I know, our seniors this is a huge game for them because it's the next game, and it's a conference game, and it gives us a chance to remain undefeated in the conference, but it's also their last, regular season game on the stripe. So They're really looking forward to playing and looking forward to getting back out on the practice field tomorrow and getting better. It's an exciting time and big game, and we're really looking forward to it.